Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington Citizen Media. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and across the internet from me is...
I am Rody John, and across the interwebs for me is...
Amy!
On this week's show, we talked to Clay Clark and Chuck Moore of the Three Busketeers as we talked to them about their formation, what music has meant to them, and how they are passing it on to the next generation.
That sounds awesome. I was there for the
I was about to say you were there.
I was there for the conversation, and it was great. They had a lot to say. It's a really meaty episode full of talks about Arlington and busking and music and what that means to these two individuals. And I think that's really cool.
Also, a warning ahead of time, the audio for Clay is a little low, so
everything is turned up.
Put your earbuds further in your ears. I think that's how those work, right?
If it blasts you out, turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
We did the best we could.
Sorry. Yeah. We are doing the best we can under COVID circumstances, and that's all we are all doing.
Yep.
So give us a little bit of grace.
Yes, thank you, because our audio has kind of been all over the place due to the fact that we have to be very mobile. So I appreciate that you guys are still listening, so thank you, and let us know what you think.
Yes. Beyond that, what have you guys been up to?
Where did I go? I know I've been back to Tipsy Oak. I also experienced, this past Sunday, Legal Draft did donuts and beer, which was basically their 4 staple beers. Paired those with some donuts from Funky Town.
Funky Town. Mm-hmm.
And, it was delicious.
Yeah, Funky Town has a really great donuts, and they do a lot of pairings with a lot of breweries, so it's nice that they were able to come this way because they're pretty far into Fort Worth. So.
Did you have a favorite pairing?
Actually, the stout and the peanut butter chocolate donut together. I mean, obviously those are great stouts on their own, but when you pair them together, like with those sweets, it was actually fantastic.
That's awesome.
Tell me, how was the process? Did you just drove up to pick that up?
Yes, unfortunately, their website was having some technical issues and you couldn't order ahead of time. So luckily, they did have quite a bit of funky donuts there, and we just rolled up and said, "Hey, we would like to do the donuts and beer," and then they had them all the 4, which was the Hefeweizen, the Saison, the Stout, and I believe the other one was an IPA, and they paired them all with the donuts, and it was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, like I said last week, we got Samurai again with that hibachi place that we cannot stop eating at. And we also got Old School.
Hey.
And that was great. I got the Mediterranean pizza. It had basil and fresh tomatoes, and instead of like a marinara sauce, it had like an olive oil base.
Right.
And that was excellent. Very, very good. I enjoyed it. An artichoke hearts. So you can kind of imagine it's kind of like a more acidic style pizza. But the cheese was on point. Their cheese is always so good. What did you guys order?
I got the chicken pesto pizza. And as always, it's fantastic. And it has the pesto as the base, and then it has chicken on top, and of course the cheese is always amazing. And I always order cheese bread when I go there, because why wouldn't you?
Because the cheese bread's amazing.
Yeah,
you should.
Yeah. And I have a little bit left over for lunch.
Daryl?
I just made sun-dried tomatoes in my garden, and they were delicious.
Hey.
I want to hear, okay, because we actually need to talk about this. How many sun-dried tomatoes did you make?
This time it was a very small batch. This is the first time I made them. And when I say I made them sun-dried, you can dehydrate them, but I literally made them in the sun. I put them on a table outside, and I moved it around to kind of follow the sun because I have a lot of trees and stuff in my backyard. Process took like 2 days overall because I went out. I kind of got like a wild hair, and I was like, I'm going to do this at like 3 p.m. If I started earlier, it probably would have all been one day. But I seasoned them a little bit and I put a cheesecloth over them, and that was it. And I am not a huge tomato fan like by itself, but these are so good.
And that's great.
I have a bunch left. I'm ready to do more this week. Hopefully it gets a little sunnier so I can do that. I mean, I'm thankful for the rain. My garden's thankful for the rain, but That was good. I also opened my second batch of pickles. Delicious as always. Very good. And I actually did do something. I said I didn't do anything this week, but I went and gave blood at Carter Blood Care on Saturday.
That's right.
I forgot all about that. And it was, I went early. It was, everything was socially distanced. Everyone's wearing masks. It was very, very safe. The first time I'd ever given blood. Turns out I'm O positive. I didn't know my blood type until now. No, didn't know until just the other day. So that's interesting. It's good. And they also do COVID antibody testing right now. So when you go give blood, you can do COVID antibody testing. I haven't got those results yet, but you should. If you can give blood, I think you definitely should.
O positive. That's a great blood type.
Yeah, it's pretty common. Which is good for, it's not, like O negative I think is like
that's the
creme de la creme, right? So they want that a lot.
It's also a great band, so.
That is type O negative. I was like, well, okay. Bringing back the 90s here, okay. But yeah, definitely go do it. I made an appointment online. It was super easy. The whole thing took like an hour overall.
Where did you have to go?
It's actually over by Corky's, over in South Arlington. I was down by your neck of the woods. But yeah, definitely go do it. They're short on blood right now because of COVID. Not necessarily because of like COVID, but because people are not going out to give as much blood now. So.
Right.
I'm going to do it again next month. Looking forward to it.
Good for you.
We are here with Clay Clark and Chuck Moore, the Busketeers. How are y'all today?
Doing great. Fine.
So, how many Busketeers are there, and who are the other members?
It varies. Yeah, there's three of us.
Okay.
Kim Field,
right,
was our third member.
Former guest of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, we started as the Three Busketeers because the three of us were playing together.
All right.
And then when COVID hit, Chuck and I continued playing and busking, and Kim is taking some time out until the COVID passes over, and so we felt kind of strange calling ourselves the Three Busketeers, and the two of us showed up. So.
All right, well, fair. I mean, that's kind of a joke in and of itself.
Really?
You should probably just call yourself, and people say, well, where's the third? You're like, you don't see them? They're right here.
Well, yeah, I guess we could have done that.
Yeah.
Be a whole thing. But yeah, Kim is definitely taking the COVID thing pretty seriously.
Yeah, she's right up on the front lines with it.
With just about everything. That's kind of how she is. She's I love her. You know, she's wacky, but she's probably one of the most passionate people about whatever the hell it is that she's passionate about.
Right.
That I know. And she's also just funny, you know?
Well, she sort of started the whole thing. She was busking last summer and invited me out to busk with her, and then Chuck joined us at some point last year, and then we started playing around a few more places, and yeah, she's a real driving force, I think, for the music.
She is
here in this area.
Very much so.
So who thought of the name? Okay.
Me.
I will say Chuck is pointing to.
Well, he had the Three Buskamigos.
I like that.
Which was kind of cool, too. But Three Busketeers kind of rolled off the tongue.
It was better.
Right.
I agree. That was a better idea.
But. I mean, if you guys want to do it in ponchos, in sombreros.
Well, we need is the tabards with the big cross.
Oh, it's true.
From the French Musketeers. We can get cross guitars on there.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I think that's a really good idea. When the weather gets a little bit cooler, you guys, I expect you to be out there with swords and.
We might just do T-shirts rather than.
Okay, well, I guess.
Okay, all right, fair.
Good enough. So, did you both grow up in Arlington?
No.
How did y'all make it here, and how long have y'all been here?
So I actually grew up in South Georgia, but
oh wow,
even before that, my dad was in the Navy, so we sort of moved around a lot.
Right.
But his family, my mom's family, are all in South Georgia, so I spent middle school, a lot of middle school, high school there, and then I moved here for the job, work at UT Arlington.
Okay.
About 5 years ago. This summer, it was 5 years ago, and so that's how I got here. So was familiar with Texas, though. I was a student at Texas A&M in graduate school.
Oh, very nice.
And then so when I had the opportunity to move back, I thought it was a great idea. So here I am.
Well, there we go.
I was born in Fort Worth.
Right.
Raised in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time when I traveled pretty extensively as well. But when I met my wife, we were looking for a place to settle. And we had some friends that lived here, always saying really great things about Arlington. So we kind of came and found us a house and squatted, and we've been here 42 years now.
Wow.
Wow. Are you happy with that decision?
Yes, absolutely.
That's good.
Love Arlington.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure what direction it's going in right now, but I mean, you don't just quit loving something because you don't understand where it's headed.
Right.
Right.
No, you're right.
And one thing we can say, despite anything else, is that at least in the last few years, there's been a real community embrace and push for like live music and arts and stuff, which I don't think was here before. And even if it's community driven and not necessarily coming from the top, you know, at least it's here. I think Arlington is becoming a hot spot.
At a certain point, though, the top really becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
You know, what we do as a community together, we're going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they decide to have a city council meeting and make it illegal, we're here to stay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have the history that Chuck does here in this area. So when I moved here 5 years ago, it seemed like, you know, this was here already. I mean, there have been a lot of changes downtown with new buildings, and universities certainly changed a lot, and I think that's part of the changes downtown. But you know, the music was here at the time. There really weren't buskers, I don't think, 5 years ago. But you know, it's a real evolution of the attitude of musicians here in this area.
Well, that's something we work at, trying to change the perception of what a busker is.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not beggars with guitars. I mean, here's a man that's the chair of biology department at the college,
Yeah.
and a retired craftsman, an artist. We don't need to do it. We do it because we love to do it.
Right.
And I mean, I'd have never met this man ever. It just socially, and it was music in Arlington that brought us together, and he's now a friend, and we play every chance we get.
Right.
But right now we're being smart about it.
Yeah.
We play outside as often as we can.
Okay.
And if we have offers for gigs that are in too small a place, we turn them down.
Yeah.
That's smart.
You know, we want this to continue even now. I know people are afraid, but if we can use our heads, pick our places, and try to stay outside as often as we can. I know it's hot.
Right.
Right.
Well, gee, music's hot anyway. You know, they make you sweat just listening.
Right.
But, you know, come out and take precautions, wear the mask, keep your social distance. And we'll play music for you. And that's kind of where we're at with it. But the old perception of, you know, the beggar with a cup full of pencils is something we're trying to dispel.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I know that you have worked a little bit, or Kim has, with the city, you know, trying to make it a sanctioned thing where you have specific places that are safe, you know, for you guys. That's important as well. And maybe not as pollution-y, you know, as playing in the middle of like a downtown street.
It's hard, though, because of the way Arlington's built.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got a lot of venue-type corners where people could be, but everything is so close to the road.
Right.
Because the downtown area particularly is very, very tight. That's why Clay and I try to pick spots, well, like the Arlington Music Hall.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
They love having us there. In fact, you know, they want us to come back every time they have a show. Because it just adds ambiance. But we're far enough back there, and we have a business that although they're not sponsoring us,
Mm-hmm.
they help us. They give us electricity for our amps,
Right.
let us use the restroom, basically.
Very busker friendly.
Yeah, actually, absolutely.
Right.
But one of the, I guess, advantages of my day job is I get to travel quite often, and I've seen street musicians all over the world, some really, really good ones, and they have the same issues, right? It's a big city. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of noise, and that's the life of a busker. You just get out there and play your music, and hopefully people like it, and they'll stand and listen for a few minutes as they go about their life.
Yeah. And it's for us, of course, it's not about tips in the can.
Right.
Right.
We would play if there was no can.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just love to play, and
we have,
and we and we have quite a few times. But it's called giving back. If the people here are willing to stop and listen, then we'll give them the best we've got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my opinion is it's a sign of a really healthy community when you see performers, artisans, artists, musicians, and the city welcomes them in the way that we feel welcomed here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place I'd like to move to.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you're right about it adding ambiance, to the outside of a venue. Maybe somebody who's never been to Arlington or been to the music hall before, is like, well, I don't know about Arlington. That's just the stadiums. There's nothing really down there. I could imagine that person coming to a show, seeing you guys out there. Babe's Chicken is right there. Mm-hmm. It's really nice at night with everything lit up. That really would be like, wow, this is really cool. Like this is. Artsy and fun and something that I'd love to see and come back to. So that's really great.
And there's usually music over at Grease Monkey at the same time. And so you come down to that area, you just feel like there's a lot of energy.
Right. And it tips you down the street a little bit, but they do the same thing. Yeah. So, and then I know Hurtado's wanting to do that also whenever they're able to have more people there.
Cartel.
Cartel, they do it pretty well.
Legal Draft. Yeah, there are lots of venues down in this area.
Well, we lost a really great venue here not too long ago, though, and that was the New Main Brewery.
Yeah, we're really upset about that, too.
But it's okay, because a lot of the connections and friendships and stuff that got made there, mm-hmm. Just kind of spread out.
No, you're right.
And there, once the lockdown's over with, mm-hmm. There's going to be open mics, and all the same people, are going to be going to do this. And that was another big important part of our meeting, and getting a feel for Arlington music was the Truth Vinyl.
Right.
Yeah.
Open mic. I'd still be sitting on my bed playing to the Four Walls and the Cats. If it wasn't for the Truth Vinyl open mic, that let me know that I was actually good enough that somebody might want to listen to me.
Right.
And meeting friends like this that, mm-hmm. Where we get together, we practice, we play, and we get to give back a little bit to the place we call home right now.
You're right. No, we miss the open mic at Truth Vinyl very much.
Yeah, in fact, one of our questions, I'm going to skip around a little bit, was to Clay. One time, Rhodey and I were there, and we saw you do a duet with your son. I think it was an Iron Maiden song.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath.
Okay, I don't know these things. But it was really fun, and it was really sweet to see you guys do that together, and it seemed really enjoyable. Do you guys still play together? Or?
We do. My son is a student here at UTA.
Oh, even better.
In fact, he just graduated, but he's now in the graduate program.
Ooh.
In computer engineering.
Okay.
But he's been a bass player for long time, many years, and I consider myself sort of as a weekend warrior type musician. I love to play guitar,
mm-hmm.
right?
And build guitars.
But he's an honest to goodness musician. He is really good.
Right.
And so I'm lucky that he will play with me. And in order to get him to play with me, however, I have to play heavy metal.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And no, there's nothing wrong with that. And so I learn a new style, get to learn some new guitar riffs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're still playing together. We're actually working on some more Black Sabbath songs.
Very
Great.
nice.
Black Sabbath is his favorite heavy metal group,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one that I can sort of wrap my head around the guitar parts. And so
The Black Iron Professor.
we're getting a few things. We're getting a few things together. We're hoping to play at Mavs Bar and Grill later this year once we're ready to go. And but we'll do an open mic. Truth Vinyl has the virtual open mics now.
Right.
On Thursdays, and so we'll do that first and run through the songs and make sure we have it down. But we've got a friend of his is a singer, so he's actually going to sing the songs for us.
Wow.
Black Sabbath, it's the musicians are all just so wonderful. I mean, they're really, really good. Everyone in the band is just so good. And what that means for me is that the guitar parts are so complicated,
Right.
and the bass parts are so complicated that neither one of us can sing while we're trying to do this.
Yeah, fair.
So anyway, he has a friend who's going to sing, and I have one of my students' roommate plays drums, and so we're actually going to get a little group together for a couple of performances.
That sounds
later
fun.
on.
Do you have a name for that yet?
No. we're still in the stage where we're trying to learn the songs.
So, besides those songs, what are some of y'all's favorite songs to perform? And then also, what are some most popular songs with the crowd?
So my background is more in blues music.
Okay.
And so I really like to perform blues. A lot of things Eric Clapton does. I mean, he's my guitar hero.
I mean, you're not the only one.
So,
Yeah.
So anything he plays, I try to play. I would say they're probably not crowd favorites, but every once in a while I throw some blues songs in there just because I like to do it.
Right.
We do a lot of folk songs. We do a lot of Americana. We've just started doing several songs together with some harmony.
I was just going to ask that. That's amazing.
And, partly it's because we were playing together, and we do a lot of individual songs. But we were getting asked, hey, do you guys do anything together when we were booking venues? And so we started playing some songs together. A lot of folk. Every once in a while, in a 2 or 3 hour set, I have to play.
Well, I don't know if you necessarily can call a Marshall Tucker band folk.
Well,
but,
there are others. Southern rock. So as I said, I grew up in
Americana,
South Georgia.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really sums up what we do. He was into the blues. The only thing I ever heard him play was bluesy stuff. And I, of course, was classic. I mean, talking about outlaw country, Waylon Willie.
Right.
That genre.
Robert Earl Keen.
George Jones. Play some Hank Williams. But that was kind of what I did. But even before that, I played Irish and Celtic music.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, actually, at one time, I sang with a little 4-piece a cappella group.
Okay.
And we sang mostly Ren Fair type music.
Right.
That's really cool.
But I stay with the old stuff, not out of some,
Nostalgia thing.
But the fact is that they're timeless.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of the young people have never heard them.
Mm-hmm.
I went to an open mic one time, and the young man who was actually hosting it asked me what I was going to do. I said, well, I think I'll start out with Travis Tritt, and then I'll go. And he looked at me and went, who? And I went, Travis Tritt. Oh. I'll ask my dad.
Oh.
And that's what I mean. You don't know whether a song is a good song or not. You don't know whether that song will touch you or not unless you've heard it.
Right.
And I've got a playlist of Gordon Lightfoot that, goes on for miles.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to mix it up as much as I possibly can when we play together. But I want people to hear these songs, and if they like them, I want them to go home and look up the artist online, and check it out, and listen to their body of work. John Prine, for instance, was not being played here much for a long time, and Of course, now that he's passed, everybody's playing him.
Right.
And people are going, wow, I didn't know that he wrote those kind of songs. Those are great. Now everybody's listening to him. But he had to die to make it happen. I'd rather just play them and let them live on and write new stuff.
So I'd say, overall it's a pretty eclectic mix that we play. We have some songs that the audience can sing along to. Mm-hmm. Anything from Charlie Daniels to Tom Petty.
Yeah.
We have some things that they may or may not be as familiar with, but probably between the two of us, the song list is around 200 songs or so.
Wow.
Well, I've got 100 at least.
Right.
I have no idea how many he can do, but that's pretty close.
That's not bad at all.
So
most musicians can't even get half that, let alone.
But I'm just grateful when we play together that he can actually play the guitar well.
Is that a problem in the past you ran into?
No, I've kind of a bad hand.
Okay.
I got hurt in a shop accident. Not to put too fine a point on it. Sometimes when I tell my hand to do something, it doesn't. So with him over here playing all this nice stuff, I kind of get lost, and it's really great. Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you guys have any plans to release an album or maybe like a music video?
Well, we haven't been approached by any producers yet, but we certainly entertain a discussion.
I don't think a record deal's in the near future. No.
Yeah, but people self-produce, their singles and albums all the time,
right.
and they're happy because they made it and it goes on SoundCloud or Spotify and it's there, and whether people even listen to it or not, they're just happy that they made it and it's out there.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really would. I'd like some, a good camera, some nice recording equipment for the video, and just play.
Yeah.
And let somebody else worry about making it,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the editing and all that fun stuff.
All that stuff. And all we'd have to do is show up and just sing and do something like that. Of course,
money.
Right.
Yeah, it's always that.
Well, it helps to have a song or two written. Which we've done. We both have written songs.
Okay.
But mine are more the blues, and his is more country, and so we'd have to find a happy medium.
Well, I feel like that's almost an easy segue, really.
Yeah, that's marryable.
Yeah.
It's not like
I
it's,
think
so. Heavy metal and something.
Opera. Or
Exactly.
Which would be awesome.
Actually, it sounds really
that
good.
sounds awesome.
I think that's happened before.
I want to say there's I don't know, yeah.
Pavarotti sings Black Sabbath. I can't wait.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And it almost sounds like Klingon opera.
Oh.
It's like a mix of heavy metal and
these
opera.
groups, Ghost and others, I think, that are really dramatic heavy metal.
Right.
And my son can tell you all about the different heavy metal genres.
It goes real deep, especially if you go over to European metal, then it's on a whole
isn't
level.
it?
Yeah.
Man, those guys love that stuff.
Yeah, they really do.
I mean, it's so parsed into different types of heavy metal that Black Sabbath is really more like classic rock now than it is heavy metal.
Oh, without a doubt. But they inspired so many people.
They inspired so many people.
Yeah.
Yes.
What really surprises me, walking away from heavy metal for a second, is there's no country music venue in Arlington.
No, there's not. I mean, if you look into the history of Arlington Music Hall, there obviously was at one point, but not anymore. No. But I mean, also, I've thought about it, and there's not really a place for Hispanic music to be played, or there's not really,
There's nothing that
there's
is
no jazz
genre.
bar whatsoever.
Yeah, a jazz bar. There's nothing that's genre specific.
Right.
We haven't really made it to be that much of a come-to city for live music that I think something like that would be sustainable. Except a Latin music club, which Rhodey's had his eye on, trying to open one forever. Cause
I want to reopen 2001.
Yeah, that giant building on Cooper that was that nightclub?
Yeah.
That would be something.
That's my goal.
So
good luck.
Well, thank you. Well,
we're working on that.
I'd like to see another Armadillo World Headquarters.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
What is?
Oh, guys, well,
I'm not
I'm
from
old,
here.
I
I mean, I can Google it real fast.
I forget. Armadillo World Headquarters was in Austin.
Okay.
And it's where, I mean, they had everything. They had rock, they had blues, they had jazz, they had country western. That's where Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Tom Paul Glazer, Jerry Jeff Walker, all those guys that I'm sure you've heard of them.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's where they got started. But the place was an old armory, National Guard armory.
Wow.
And they took it over. They ran it terribly, or it would probably still be around. But everybody played there. And it was, you didn't know from week to week what genre was going to be there, but they packed the place.
That's what I would want to do with it. I wouldn't want to just open it just for the specifics of having a Latin nightclub. I want the diversity of, like, this night we're going to do this. This week, this is how it's going to lay it out. Where the music's on this night, it's going to be this. This night's going to be this, and then every week's going to be different.
But they had bupkis, no cover charge.
Oh, that's nice too.
No cover charge, and the bar did landslide.
Yeah.
You know, no cover, but it's 2-drink minimum.
Right.
Everybody's into that.
Yep.
So what do you think the difference is here now? Like, why can't we pack these venues where they're playing live music?
I think a lot of it is money. I think there are people that want too much to get in.
I think so.
Yeah.
And they don't trust the bar sales or whatever to do it. And another thing, too, I think maybe they feel like they can't afford to pay a band.
Right.
And that may be true. Because they have no crowd, therefore they have no bar, and they have no money, and they cannot pay the band, and they're not going to come listen to nobody. So it's a vicious circle. You have to figure out how to do a little of all of these things to probably make that bar profitable, and where they can have good musicians there.
Right.
And
also support local ones too. You know, you can't just have, you know,
national bands on a regular basis.
Because that will make you money, but you have to be able to support the local musicians too.
Yeah.
I think probably there's 8 or 10 metal bands here in this area that have really big followings.
Right.
And I'm right now I'm simply thinking about Mavericks, because I've heard some dynamite metal bands there, and nobody's listening.
Yeah.
And what a shame.
Right.
Do you know what I don't see, and maybe it's because I haven't been here long enough, what I don't see in this area that I've seen in other places are a lot of young people. Where are they going for music, right? Because when Chuck and I play, even when we're playing on patios at restaurants, you know, it's an older crowd a lot of times, and when we see the crowds going into the Arlington Music Hall, it's an older crowd.
Right.
So we're the young people, and you know, I think if you're designing a bar, if you're designing a venue for bands, you've got to somehow bring in that group also. And
you're right.
I don't know where they are in Arlington. Where do they go?
Yeah, well, what's interesting, we have UTA right here, so we have thousands and thousands of young people here, and I think that's been one of the cities and the Downtown Management Corporation's main goals with all of this revitalization downtown, right, is how do we keep these students from leaving when they graduate, and also keeping them here instead of going to downtown Fort Worth or Dallas, you know, Deep Ellum, you know, to go to these establishments.
The kids here, if they're going for country, are going to the stockyards.
Oh, without a
doubt. Probably if they're going for metal, they're going to Dallas, because there's, I don't remember, several clubs over there that get packed every weekend.
Yeah.
So, but we're in a situation where you've got great venues on one side and great venues on the other, and it's only a 30-minute drive.
Right.
Right.
So we're in a bad spot, and we're limited.
You're right.
In what?
Maybe the idea of the front street as the music venue for Arlington would work, because if you have several places where kind of like 6th Street in Austin, right? You start at one end, or Beale Street in Memphis, right? You start at one end and
a walkable area.
A walkable area, every venue has a different band,
right?
And you can just
walk
but
the city definitely would have to get involved in that one, because we need the support to put these places together. But that could be pretty impressive,
right?
But it seems like the bones for that is already here, right? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
Front Street is building. There's already lots of places on Front Street, and I think part of it's just now making all those connections to.
That's true.
To put that sort of vision together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the pieces are there. They're just not all put together yet. So,
that's what makes this such a magical time, right? Because people like you now, when all this is built and finished, you guys are going to be like, veterans who know who the people are who own these venues. Mm-hmm. You're going to know like what the crowds are like, and you're going to be in a good position, to play your music for lots of people, new people that ordinarily don't come out here.
Right. Or you're getting the new musicians that you're going to, like you guys are meeting at the open mics.
Yeah.
That wouldn't really know where to go or who to talk to. And then if they happen to see you guys also at the open mic and they reach out and like, hey, I'm trying to start playing more. Who do I got to talk to? Mm-hmm. Where do I got to go? Things like that. So, yeah, it's a good time.
I tell them, get out and busk.
Yeah.
It's such a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of have a progression when I work on new songs, and that is the open mic, because it's probably the friendliest crowd ever. I mean,
they really are
super supportive,
and you can kind of get some feedback and how's the song going. Then I take it out busking, because if you screw up a song while you're busking, well, an hour later you got a different crowd and you just try it again, right?
Yep.
And then once I'm happy with that, then I bring it up on the stage, because you can't really escape on the stage when you screw it up.
No place to run,
nowhere to hide. So so that's sort of my progression. And when I encourage the musicians, get out there and busk, because it's a great experience. You get really good feedback from the crowds. We've had musicians from inside Arlington Music Hall come out and listen to us and say, hey, we play that song too. So, and you just kind of get a feel for how's it going. You get a lot of experience and a lot of positive feedback, and then it helps build confidence.
It's also like you're getting the reps in, so you're doing it over and over again, so that you figure out how you are as a musician, how you are when you're singing the song. Maybe you don't like singing it this way. Maybe you'll try it a different way, or
Well, Clay's into some of the electronic stuff.
Right.
He's got a pedal for all occasions. And he thrives on getting that different sound. On the other hand, I've got a harmony pedal, whoop-de-doo.
Right.
But because he has that variety of sound, and I sing okay, between the two of us, we put on enough of an interesting show, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Where people will sit and listen. One day in front of the Arlington Music Hall, and I'll never forget this, one of the barbers, because there's a barber shop right across the street, one of the barbers had taken a collection from all the rest of the barbers to come in, put tips in our can, because they enjoyed the music so much, because they could hear it over there in the barber shop. And another one which warmed me to the cockles of my heart was a gentleman who was going to be playing at Grease Monkeys. And he's a big, tall guy. You can tell he was going to be doing CW, had the white Western hat on and everything. And he come out periodically and listen to us play our set, because his didn't start, I think, till around 8 o'clock. And when we were done and we started packing up, he came out and he tipped his hat to us. But we never met him.
Right.
He never met us. But that's the kind of support we got, one for the other.
Right.
In these different places. And Clay didn't mention it, but I will mention it. If you're going to busk, don't expect to make a living.
No.
At it. You've just got to go do it for the experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the love of doing it.
Exactly.
Because you're not going to make a living in Arlington busking.
I joke with my wife that I make enough money to buy the beer that I drink.
That's all. Daryl and I, our other partner, have joked about that exact thing. When we saw that you guys had first started busking, we were talking about doing that specifically for that. Like, let's just get our 6-pack, split that. If we get enough for that, it was worth it.
It was worth it, for the beer.
He never leaves the house. So.
That's true.
And the gas money. We
sure. And the gas money too.
Gas money to get to the venue.
So
that makes it worth it.
One of our more enjoyable experiences was at the library last Christmas.
That's true. Oh, okay. That was good.
So they have I don't know if it started last year or maybe before, but every Friday they have music in the lobby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And so we were down there with Kim Field, the three of us, every Friday for about a month or so.
I remember seeing that, yeah.
And occasionally Larry Armour would come by and play with us. And so we'd have
Tom Smith showed up with his bass.
And it was just a lot of fun. And so patrons will come into the library and we do Christmas music, so we spend a few minutes and learn some Christmas songs and play some of our other songs too, and people just kind of walk by and say hi and then go into the library. So that was a real fun experience. A lot of kids.
It was nice. It was nice, and it was nice and warm in there.
Yes.
Yeah. But that kind of interaction with the city is what we try real hard to maintain.
Yeah.
Is do good things,
right.
for the opportunities. We go in, we play well, we've got a good song selection that's not offensive or X-rated. And the people comment, well, those people that are really good,
Yeah.
And that's how we got some of the other gigs we get. It's word of mouth.
Yeah.
Do well and treat these guys with respect, and they'll do the same. It's why I love Arlington.
Yeah.
That's great. Speaking of Arlington, we have a question that we like to ask all of our guests. What is your favorite pizza place in Arlington?
So for me, it's Old School.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. It's mine too.
Yeah.
To tell you
Awesome.
the truth.
Most of the people we talk to, it's usually Old School.
Yeah.
Or mamas.
Not just because we're playing there. It's just their pizza's really dynamite.
It is so good, and we're right across the street from there right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I will say, if there's another restaurant that would like to change my mind, I'd be happy to sample pizza.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But there are some really good pizza places here in town.
Yes.
there really are.
For my 2 cents, it's Old School.
Yeah,
I think so too.
we love that too. Plus, it's a good ambiance. They have live music, and the beer's good.
Oh, beer's always good.
Yeah.
And the full bar and that.
Yeah.
Just the house.
Yeah, they need to
atmosphere.
put a cover over the stage, though.
Yeah,
I thought they did.
No, so they put the patio up.
They covered
Yeah,
the patio with
not
all
the
the
stage.
picnic tables.
Oh.
We just barely got out of there last time we played.
I bet.
This thunderstorm was coming.
Oh.
And we stuck it out until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock when we were supposed to
Oh,
stop.
my
And then we
goodness.
were running around in the wind.
we played about 5 minutes too long.
Too
Oh,
long.
no. Sometimes if we're at the office late here, I can hear the music from right there. I think the last time it was 214 because they're pretty loud. They're all electric. I could hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah. 214 is another group I got a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
They get out and do, they really do. And they sound great doing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, we really appreciate you coming by, and maybe next time we can catch all three of you if the world ever gets put back together again, and
Yeah.
Kim will leave her home.
Well,
We would like to see her again.
we'd
Yeah.
like to. Well, we'd like to see her again, but it's one of these don't hold your breath
Right.
for a while things. That,
Eventually.
Yeah.
Well, all of this got to end eventually.
Yeah,
It's true.
but
thank you.
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
good. I'm so glad. It's good to see you guys, and hopefully we can see you out and about soon.
Yes.
We really want to.
We will be out and about.
We'll be out and about tonight, right over there.
There we
Okay,
go.
great.
Thank you so much to our guests this week, Clay Clark and Chuck Moore. We had so much fun talking with you guys, talking about music, talking about Arlington, talking about COVID and our future. Please check us out on all of our social media platforms. Send pictures and ideas for shows anytime. So please
make sure to go out and eat local, drink local, and
go rediscover your city.
Tag us and send those pictures over to us on Facebook, Arlington Citizen Media, Twitter, ATX Citizen Media. Tag us on Instagram, Arlington Citizen Media, and send those pictures the old-fashioned way. Email arlingtoncitizenmedia@gmail.com. Also go to our website, www.arlingtoncitizenmedia.com. Don't forget to subscribe and give those 5-star reviews of the Downtown at Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also hit us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Okay, I'm. This just in. Beep, 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 beep.